Today's episode is sponsored by Land Gorilla, the premier software for managing renovation and construction loans. Let's face it, renovation loans can be messy, but your draw management shouldn't be. Land Gorilla brings draw requests, disbursements, change orders, and project data all into one single experience. The platform eliminates communication gaps so you can deliver faster draws and scale your pipeline safely. Learn more at landgorilla.com. Imagine you've scheduled a meeting with a real estate agent you've been trying to build a relationship with. You sit down, you introduce yourself, and within the first 5 minutes, you launch into FHA 203K, homestyle renovation, choice renovation. You explain contingency reserves, draw schedules, subject to appraisals. By the time you're finished, their eyes have completely glazed over. Because here's the truth. Real estate agents don't wake up in the morning wondering how renovation loans work. They wake up wondering, how do I help more buyers get to the closing table? That's the conversation you should be having. In this episode, I want to show you how to help real estate agents see renovation lending differently. Not just another mortgage product, but a tool that helps them to solve problems for their clients. Stop selling loan programs. Start solving problems. One of the biggest mistakes loan officers make is leading with products. Real estate agents don't need another guideline presentation. They need solutions. When I met with agents, I rarely started by talking about renovation loans. Instead, I'd ask questions. What kinds of transactions are you losing? Where do buyers struggle the most? What properties seem the hardest to sell? Those answers almost always led us to a renovation lending conversation naturally. We're here to help agents save transactions. Every agent has experienced it. A home inspection uncovers unexpected repairs. An appraisal requires health and safety issues to be corrected. The seller refuses, the buyer doesn't have the cash, the deal starts falling apart. As loan officers, you have an opportunity to change that conversation. Instead of reaching out for updates to find out if the deal has died or if they're still negotiating, you can advise, there is a solution. What if we flip the financing? If the buyer is willing to take on the costs of repairs, you may be able to save the deal. And I probably don't need to tell you, helping an agent save even one difficult transaction can create a referral relationship that lasts for years. Expand their buyers' options. One of the biggest frustrations agents hear today is there just aren't enough homes. Sometimes that's true, but sometimes buyers are only looking at the move-in ready homes. Teach agents that renovation financing expands inventory. Homes that need cosmetic updates, those with deferred maintenance, or even those that need significant rehabilitation can suddenly become realistic options. That's a conversation agents appreciate because it helps to give them more homes to show, and it gives their buyers more opportunities. Here's another point I like to make with real estate agents. Any agent can sell a beautifully updated move-in ready home, but the agents who truly set themselves apart are the ones who know how to market the homes everyone else avoids. They learn to help buyers see possibilities instead of problems. That's a competitive advantage. And those are the agents people remember because they solve problems other agents couldn't. Here's something else I don't think we talk about enough: participating in neighborhood revitalization. One of the things I've witnessed several times while living just outside of Indianapolis was what happened after just a few neglected homes were renovated. It would start with one family purchasing a fixer-upper, then another. Before long, neighbors began investing in their own homes. Fresh landscaping appeared, new roofs, fresh paint, updated porches. The pride of ownership became contagious. Property values improved, and entire blocks began to look different. And here's what's interesting. Some of those homeowners stayed and enjoyed the homes they improved. Others watched property values increase and eventually decided to sell, which means more opportunities for real estate agents. As loan officers, we're not just helping finance renovations, we're helping real estate agents become part of the long-term transformation of the communities that they serve. Sometimes the impact of one renovation loan reaches far beyond a single closing. Let's talk about the almost perfect house. I love asking agents this question. Have you ever shown a home that was almost perfect? Maybe the buyers loved everything except the kitchen or the flooring or the bathrooms. Without renovation financing, those buyers often keep looking. But with renovation financing, they start imagining possibilities instead of compromises, and that's a much more hopeful conversation. There's another great opportunity to educate agents about one of renovation lending's biggest advantages. Most real estate agents assume their buyers can only borrow based on what a home is worth today. Renovation loans change that conversation because financing is based on the property's future value. So buyers may be able to write offers that are stronger without the need for appraisal gap money the way they often would in a competitive market using traditional financing. That's a concept many agents have never been exposed to. And once they understand it, they begin to look at fixer-uppers very differently because not every buyer that they're working with has extra resources available for appraisal gap money. Managing renovation loans means balancing a lot of moving parts. For years, I've relied on Langorilla's comprehensive draw management software to eliminate manual errors and keep projects moving. It handles everything, from overall draw pipeline scaling to the tedious day-to-day renovation-specific headaches like built-in databases for 203K consultants and contractors, automating credential tracking, and streamlining disbursements. Backed by ongoing support that's friendly and experienced, they're a total game changer. Visit Langorilla.com today. Let me share one of my favorite success stories, and you may remember me sharing this story before, but it's worth repeating. It happened in the fall of 2021. A personal friend of mine, who also happens to be a real estate agent, had already shown a young couple 20 homes. 20. None of their offers had been accepted. She knew what I did for a living, but she never really tried a renovation transaction before because it felt unfamiliar. So we sat down and talked, not about guidelines, but about the process, about expectations, about what her buyers could realistically accomplish. She presented the idea of purchasing a fixer-upper. They looked at 2 more homes. One required major renovation, the other needed mostly cosmetic improvements, and the buyers decided to go for the one that needed just the minor cosmetic improvements. They submitted an offer below asking price, and their offer was accepted. Before that loan even closed, she helped another family purchase their first home using renovation financing. Those experiences completely changed the way she looked at renovation lending. Sometimes all an agent needs is one successful transaction to become a believer. As loan officers, we have an opportunity to ask better questions. When you meet with real estate agents, don't just ask for referrals. Ask questions that help identify opportunities. Questions like, do you have any buyers that have walked away because they couldn't find the right house? Are you dealing with an inspection or an appraisal issue that's causing contracts to fall apart? How many distressed listings are sitting on the market because buyers thought they needed cash? Those questions naturally lead into conversations about renovation lending, and that's really the goal. Loan officers shouldn't just teach real estate agents how renovation loans work. They should teach them how to recognize opportunity where everybody else sees obstacles. The financing simply becomes the tool that makes those opportunities possible. Here's a question I love to ask agents. I call it the builder question. Because walking in a room full of real estate agents doesn't necessarily win them over immediately when the topic is renovation lending, one of my favorite presentation techniques is to start by asking a simple question. How many of you would be willing to work with a buyer building a brand new home? As you can imagine, almost every hand goes up, and then I ask why. Usually it's because they want relationships with builders, but here's the irony. Production builders, they often reduce buyer agent commissions pretty dramatically. Sometimes they only get a few $100 per transaction. New construction also takes much longer than renovation loans. So I follow up with another question. If you're willing to wait 8 or 10 months for a reduced commission, would you be willing to help someone purchase an existing home, earn your full commission, and close sooner? That question usually changes the conversation because suddenly renovation financing isn't competing with new construction, it's competing with the commission structure. Another benefit for real estate agents is they get to expand their professional network. Remember my friend, the one who's a real estate agent and helped not one but 2 families shortly after learning about renovation loans? Something else happened because of those 2 transactions. My friend didn't just gain confidence, she did, but she also expanded her professional network. She developed relationships with contractors. She learned what a 203K consultant actually does. She met with specialized inspectors and began building connections she wouldn't have made otherwise. That's one of the hidden benefits of renovation lending. Every successful project introduces agents to other industry professionals. And over time, those networks often generate additional referrals in both directions. Speaking of referrals, here's an opportunity many loan officers never discuss with agents. Not every buyer ends up buying. We know that. Sometimes home prices rise above their budget. Sometimes life changes. Sometimes they simply decide to stay where they're at. Don't let those relationships disappear. Encourage agents to refer those homeowners to you as well. because many of them decide to remodel instead, and renovation financing can still help them to accomplish their goals. Here's a pause and think moment, something I'd encourage every loan officer listening to think about. When you meet with a real estate agent, are you trying to teach them mortgage guidelines, or are you helping them to become more successful? Because the loan officers who earn the strongest referral relationships aren't usually the ones that know the most guidelines. They're the ones who consistently solve the most problems. I'd like to invite some listener engagement. I want to hear from you. Have you ever introduced renovation lending to a real estate agent who had never used it before? What changed after that first successful closing? Did it strengthen your relationship? Did it create additional referrals? Send me your stories, your questions, future topic ideas. You can email them to jennifer@renogal.com or leave me a message at 844 Gal and follow the prompts. Your experience may inspire a future episode. In closing, I hope one thing stands out after this conversation. The goal isn't to convince real estate agents to use renovation loans. The goal is to help them recognize opportunities they might otherwise have overlooked. Because once they begin to see possibilities instead of problems, then the renovation financing conversation happens naturally. They present ways to help real estate agents solve problems. And the agents who embrace renovation lending aren't simply learning another financing option, they're expanding inventory. They're saving difficult transactions. They're building stronger professional networks, revitalizing neighborhoods, and becoming known as the agents who can solve problems other people walk away from. When loan officers learn to have those conversations, they stop being viewed as product experts, and they start becoming trusted business partners. And if you're wondering whether contractors actually like renovation loans, well, wait until our next conversation. Some of the strongest referral relationships I've ever built started with contractors who realized these programs helped them close more projects they were previously losing. Next time, I'll explore why contractors should embrace renovation lending and how loan officers can help build valuable referral relationships with remodelers and other renovation professionals. Thank you for spending a part of your day with me. This is renovatED for Lenders. Thank you for listening to renovatED for Lenders. This episode was brought to you by Land Gorilla. Deliver clarity to borrowers, contractors, and your operations team with the industry's most trusted draw management solutions. Visit landgorilla.com today.